Welcome to week 1 of our 10-week series on the art of creative living. This is our wisdom series, and we kick things off today in a way that may be different than any other series you've ever done. Because this week, we kick things off by doing basically nothing. I'm Mindy Audlin, welcome to week 1, and this week is about rest. What if we begin this journey by giving our minds, our bodies, our hearts a break from all the doing? What if we begin this journey in the stillness of deep, restorative, rejuvenating rest? So this is about getting sleep, yes, and it's also about giving yourself a break from the doing that sometimes we get lost in. For me, I took this on as a practice of Sabbath. Many years ago, I heard about this idea of Sabbath. I knew about Sabbath, but I had never practiced it as a discipline. So if you're new to the idea, essentially, Sabbath means seventh. And the idea is that every seventh day, we stop working. We give ourselves an opportunity to rest. If you think about the farmer in the field, that farmer knows that you plant the seed and then you rest. There's work, and then you rest. And then you allow the universe the space to align and to bring those seeds to fruition. That we don't always have to be working the soil. Our fields need time to rest and to be restored. So the first time I decided to do this, I was committed. And I picked because at the time I was a spiritual leader. I was working every Sunday and I was writing every Saturday. So I decided that Friday was going to be my day of rest. And I remember when I first began the practice, I would find myself on my Sabbath day and I would sleep in and I would sleep. And I would sleep and I would sleep and I would get up and I would eat and then I would sleep again because I was exhausted from going. In fact, for probably the first 4 solid weeks of my Sabbath practice, I basically slept for the whole day. That is how exhausted I was. And then something happened. Around week 5 or 6, I gave myself a Sabbath day. My Friday rolled around and I wasn't sleepy. I wasn't exhausted. And so I found myself in this interesting place of having an entire day set aside and having absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with it. What would you do if you had an entire day, not in the frenzy of a vacation trying to stuff things in, not in the busy to-dos of a work day, not in I'm going to clean house and do errands and all that kind of thing? What if one day a week you gave yourself the space, the permission to simply rest, to take a break from all of the doing and trust that in doing so, you're creating space for the universe to do its magic, to take the momentum that you create during the week and to continue moving it forward without having to exert so much effort. So that's the invitation. And what I found, it was amazing. In a week or 2, I discovered that I really loved having lunch with my friends. So on Fridays, I would schedule lunch dates, or I'd pick up my guitar, or I would read a book of poetry, or I would write a poem, or I would take a walk. And I found those things that were restorative for me. I found self-care in a new way, and it provided a sense of openness and space. That being said, I will tell you, full disclosure, it has been a while since I have really honored that practice. And I'm excited to kick off this 10-part series with you, recommitting to the practice of getting a good night's sleep and giving myself the time and the space to be able to rest deeply. We know in the creative process, if you're creating a creative life, that your brain needs that space, that by taking time off, time away, In the creative field of creativity, we call it incubation time. We need time for an idea to simmer. If we have a problem, it's great to give it some brainstorming and some innovation. We also need to step away from it and do something different. Have you ever noticed that when you have a problem or you have something really pressing and you decide to go do something totally different, maybe you take a shower or go for a swim or decide to cook yourself a nice bowl of soup, you know, whatever that is. When you step away, have you ever noticed that when you're not thinking about it, sometimes the insights come? Sometimes after you have had a good night's sleep, you wake up and the answers you've been looking for are right there. What if, by starting this journey with a commitment to rest, not with the hopes that it will solve your problems and not with an ulterior motive of being more productive, but to simply rest because that is part of the creative journey. To simply rest because that's what our body's asking for. To simply rest because we are able to in this consciousness of abundance. We have enough time. We have enough resources. We can allow ourselves the spaciousness of deep, rejuvenating rest. So this week, we kick off week 1 with an invitation to look at your bedtime routine. What are the practices you could put into place that would allow you to get a good night's sleep? And to look at perhaps taking on a challenge of giving yourself maybe an hour, maybe a half a day, maybe an afternoon, maybe a weekly sabbath, at least for the duration of this series, so that you can see what happens when you create those conditions. You create the fertile soil for your imagination. You create the fertile conditions where your wisdom can thrive, simply by allowing yourself the time and the space to rest deeply. That's the invitation. Welcome to week 1 of the Art of Creative Living. Join us in our community, share your practices, share your wins, share your challenges. We are here to brainstorm, to what if up into new possibilities, and to cheer you on, to support you as we all collectively set this intention of cultivating wisdom in this new year. Thanks for being here and for kicking off this journey with us. I'll see you inside.